Are you serious, guys? Are you serious? Well, we are extremely serious today, as you can see, as the video I did earlier today on the Ark of the Covenant and its real location. But I have, and tonight I got Mike from around the world. It's going to be off the chain. But right now I have a great video I want to share with you on the deep state. Let me tell you about that just a second. While everybody's gathering in, let me do this quick shout out to www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. A cutting-edge 2024 study shows that collagen can have drastically positive effects on your skin health. This is important. This study found that women who take a daily collagen drink will see a noticeable reduction in the wrinkles and firmer, more hydrated skin. But it's important not to use just any random collagen. Make sure you're using the collagen that's backed by the real science, not the Fauci science. And that's why I love to use this right here. Great stuff. And for years we've been doing this. This is why I've used this amazing multi-collagen. Absolutely love how it will transform my skin certainly for the better. Unlike poorly sourced collagen you typically find on the store shelves, you got to go to www.healthwithpaul.com. It uses the 5 critically important types of collagen for your skin. We're talking about plant and fish collagen. It's perfect. This unique formulation is designed to reduce the visible signs of aging, reduce the wrinkles, promote youthful glow, promote some elasticity, and skin hydration. You just take 1 scoop in the soup, or maybe in your coffee, but I think you should put it in the soup, or in a smoothie is perfect, okay? Enjoy it. Do it. Save 51% while you're at it. Go to www.healthwithpaul.com. That's www.healthwithpaul.com. You'll be glad that you did. All right, let's and by the way, get your tickets for Alien Encounters. Alien Encounters. This webinar is off the chain. And you can go there right now and order it at paulbegleyprophecy.com. And when your receipt will be emailed to you, and you will be able to click on the link and watch it instantly. Okay? Or you can pick up the phone and you can call and order your ticket for this webinar over the phone and get your link while you're on the phone. If you got your computer open, boom, in your email, boom, you're ready to watch it. And then if anybody has any problem with trying to find their link, or maybe going back a second time and said, "Oh, I can't find my link." Okay, pick up the phone and call 765-414-2230. We'll help you out. Okay, everybody's got to see this webinar. All right, now Paul Jr. is really stepping up his ability to interview people. And as we've been doing a podcast, some of you may not even know that, but we're doing a brand new podcast we just started a few weeks ago called Paul Begley Podcast. He and I are teaming up along with Heidi and my son Bart Begley, so you get a combination of different ones. We're interviewing very unique people, and incredible information is being revealed. Now, in a recent interview we did with President Dwight D. Eisenhower's great-granddaughter, Laura Eisenhower, she blew the doors off the deep state. She really did. And we'd like for you to listen to this. This is myself and Paul Jr. Yeah, where's Paul Jr.? Well, you'll see him here in just a second. I want you to take about 10 minutes and really listen to what Laura Eisenhower says about the deep state and how they have been fighting against democracy, fighting against Christianity, fighting against your freedoms since the days her great-grandfather was president, who warned us about it until today. So let's check this out. Here we go right now. We're going to go right now to... Guys, are you serious? Well, we are extremely serious today, as you can see, as the video I did earlier today on the Ark of the Covenant. No, that's and its real location. That's what we're doing now. And tonight I got Mike from around the world. It's going to be off the chain. Yeah. But right now I have a great video I want to share with you on
the deep
Oh,
state.
I can't believe I just
Let me
did
tell you
that.
about that just a second.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Hit the wrong button. PBT. Oh, PBT is back. Okay, yeah, okay. So here it is. Here it is right now. This is the interview with, we're going to take about 10 minutes and reveal incredible information on the deep state.
Laura Eisenhower has spent years uncovering hidden truths about government secrecy, ET encounters, and the forces controlling global events. As the great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, she brings a unique perspective on history, the military-industrial complex, and the deep state's influence on society. In this episode, Laura shares insights into her great-grandfather's warnings, the secret negotiations allegedly made with ETs, and her own experience being recruited for a classified Mars program. She explores the implications of breakaway civilizations, the slow rollout of UFO disclosure, and the battle for human consciousness.
Here we go. I am so sorry.
Laura Eisenhower has spent years uncovering hidden truths about government secrecy, ET encounters, and the forces controlling global events. As the great-granddaughter of President Dwight D. Eisenhower, she brings a unique perspective on history, the military-industrial complex, and the deep state's influence on society. In this episode, Laura shares insights into her great-grandfather's warnings, the secret negotiations allegedly made with ETs, and her own experience being recruited for a classified Mars program. She explores the implications of breakaway civilizations, the slow rollout of UFO disclosure, and the battle for human consciousness in a world filled with deception. From government cover-ups to awakening of humanity, this conversation pushes the boundaries of what we know and what we're willing to believe. Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I've got some exciting news to share. Our brand new website has just been launched and is live at paulbegleypodcast.com. This is now your one-stop hub for everything podcast related. So instead of scouring all over the internet looking for links to the show, you can stream every episode, watch our latest YouTube videos, check out our guest directory to see who's been on the show, and even read our brand new blog for extra content. And if you're enjoying this podcast, we encourage you to leave a review right on the site. There's no login hassle needed to do this. Everything's right there. It's easy to access, mobile friendly, and it's built for you. So while you're listening today, take a second to check it out. paulbegleypodcast.com. Now back to the show. Our guest today is researcher, author, and astrologer Laura Eisenhower. She's known for exploring exopolitics, hidden agendas, and the bigger picture of human consciousness. As the great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, she's uncovered fascinating insights about his administration and beyond. Laura, it's great to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Laura, I wanted to start off with my first question for you. About your upbringing. So growing up as the great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, how did your family history shape your worldview, which you have now?
Yeah, oh gosh. Well, I really felt a strong connection with him ever since I was a child. And I felt strong in just this mission I was born with. And as I was relating to the spirit of Eisenhower, I was learning about who he was as a man, as a general, as a president, as a family member. But I definitely had this familiarity before coming in. And it just kept coming to me in like downloads and epiphanies and synchronicities and revelations. So I was almost already pretty solid in the way I was going to navigate things. And it mostly related to his final speech about the warning about the military-industrial complex. So as I got to know a little bit more about what took place during the Second World War and during his administration, and you know what his speech really meant, it definitely shaped me in harmony and in connection with what was already in my soul, and that was to be very wary of both the Republican and Democratic parties, no matter what these leaders might say to us and broadcast to us, are they really in power as much as we think they might be? And this is when I really just started to explore who is the deep state and what is this cabal? What is operating behind the scenes that are engineering events that we call psyops or false flags? So my attention was always there, even from a young age. I was noticing programmings and noticing, world events, and I just knew that there were deeper layers to all of this. And so this warning about the military industrial complex and how that relates to my own life journey, the exploration of all of this and the experience of seeing the deeper layers, really shaped the way I navigate this world, for sure.
You know what, Laura, I was so glad to have you with us today again. It's always fascinating to hear your understanding and knowledge and input. I was thought about it when you said President Eisenhower's speech. I've went back and watched that so many times. It's the black and white. There he is, and his warning. And there was two. It's his warning about the military industrial complex, and then President Kennedy's warning, which is very similar. And if between those two, it's like, okay, this was, obviously they had been in the seat of power, but there was always other people. There's other forces that were putting pressure on them, no doubt about it. And as they were wanting to warn us and to warn the world and to warn Americans that there's a bigger agendas out there that's beyond maybe what's beneficial for the American people. So you've felt this kindred spirit. I mean, you felt this connection with your great-grandfather, and you have pursued it, and it hasn't always been to your advantage either. I mean, you've taken some hits for this, haven't you?
Oh, yes, definitely taken some hits. And there's just so many layers to peel back, too. I mean, there's so much that you're going to find on the internet about him, and it's just not the full picture. And I've been fortunate to meet people that have deeper knowledge and information, things that were held in, the top secret levels that existed beyond the president. So understanding also his relationship with Val Thor and how he had access to some of that information through the assistance of benevolent beings helped him to counteract the deep state agendas. And so there's a lot I've learned in the last couple of years about what really took place after the war. And we're going to get into those kind of questions. But yeah, what I loved about his speech is really hitting the point home of being a knowledgeable and aware citizenry. This is the most important part of all of this, is to understand the war on consciousness, how the war has morphed into, indoctrination, false news, and engineered events, engineered weather, and how vast all of this is. And I feel the military industrial complex is also what he was referring to is the interplanetary corporate conglomerate. And so there's just so much there. And with those kind of warnings, it's really sparked a lot of curiosity in people, especially with all the abduction stories and this hidden technology, underground bases, and so many people coming forward, whistleblowers and experiencers and contactees. It's just incredible. So yeah, my whole life has been about this, taking a lot of hits, and it still continues today, but I feel really solid in what I've discovered and the dots that it's connected. So I'm so grateful to be able to share it now, because it makes a lot more sense than what I was sharing 5 years ago.
I think go ahead, Paul.
Right. And Laura, and before we were talking, actually, you were talking about taking a lot of hits. So yeah, you had a large YouTube channel that just got taken down. You mentioned also Patreon took you down as well. So you're still trying to, get your word and get your message out there. But unfortunately, a lot of the bigger avenues are kind of taking your content down, which is very unfortunate. And we're lucky to have you on, especially the webinar for sure is not going to get taken down. We'll see what happens once it gets put on the podcast, but hopefully we don't go into that direction. But Laura, I wanted to transition with my next question for you, actually, about President Eisenhower. So one of the more fascinating claims, and then I watched a few different short documentaries about this as well. But again, none of it is really confirmed yet. But one of the more fascinating claims about President Eisenhower is that he had 3 secret meetings with ET beings. What do you really think happened during those encounters?
Well, I've found out a lot about all this. Okay, so where did I find out more information? There's a man named Dan Cooper, who's the senior advisor to the Earth Alliance. He has a lot of information about what took place in 1952 when the UFOs hovered over the Capitol. This was these were crafts that were from Antarctica, Nazi spacecrafts, UFOs. This was actually the year that we surrendered unconditionally to the Nazis. And not just the Nazis, the ICC, the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate Nazi Draco Alliance. So we hear about Project Paperclip in 1947, the 3-letter organizations, MJ-12. Well, in 1952, there was this unconditional surrender agreement when the UFOs flew over the Capitol. So he says, Ike did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis or the Dracos, not in 1955, 1954, not in 1952. This was under Truman. So the Greada Treaty that we hear about, or the secret meetings that we hear about, he said that the unconditional surrender agreement did not allow him to have such like the ability to negotiate. So this is interesting to ponder, because there are, individuals like Gerald Light and I believe Philip Corso and some other whistleblowers that say that Eisenhower was at these meetings. He supposedly went to a dentist appointment, and then we find out.
Yeah, we're going to stop right there because she's going to get into some areas that I really think you should watch at our website. You got 2 options. You can, if you want to just watch this interview with Laura Eisenhower, it is on in its entirety. It's over at the podcast. So you can go to the Paul Begley podcast. It's right here on YouTube, the Paul Begley podcast channel, and you can watch this entire interview with Laura Eisenhower, okay? And why don't you subscribe while you're at it? We got to get those subscriptions up. Paul Jr. is doing a lot of hard work. This podcast, Paul Begley podcast, is also out there on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, everywhere there's podcasts. But if you go to since we're here on YouTube, if you want to go to the YouTube channel, you can do it. Paul Begley podcast channel. Watch this entire interview in its entirety. Okay. Or if you get the webinar for alien encounters, you'll get even more. Not only this interview with Laura Eisenhower, but the interview with full interview with Agent X, the full interview with Mike from the World, the full interview with Rex Bear, the full interview with L.A. Marzulli, Bart Begley's documentary, my full teaching on Chapter 10 of Revelation 9/11 on UFOs, Nephilim, aliens, and ETs, and demons, okay, and I'm forgetting and others. So all of you get the entire thing. That's at the webinar. So if you haven't got a ticket to the webinar, you really should. Okay, you really should. But if you want to listen to this interview with Laura Eisenhower specifically, it is on the podcast, and it's at the Paul Begley podcast. You can go get it there, okay? And I hope you'll enjoy that. So guys, help us out. Go subscribe at Paul Begley Podcast and watch and listen to this entire interview. It is fascinating. Or go get your ticket at the webinar and watch all the interviews of the webinar. People are still getting tickets. You can go right now and get your webinar ticket at 765-414-2230. That's 765-414-2230. And I'm going to give you a little chance to do that. I'll be back with some more information on the deep state. I've got some breaking news on the deep state. I'll be able to get to that. So, I'll be right back. Go to my website, paulbegleyprophecy.com. Get your tickets for the webinar, or go listen to this entire interview of Laura Eisenhower at the Paul Begley podcast channel on YouTube.
I see geese flying high above the water, a child fishing with his father in the rain. I can smell blackberry brandy and chocolate-covered candy. I see a soldier crying on a train, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long.
Tonight's going to be a great show with Mike around the world.
As I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. I feel the deepness of his weakness. I can taste the brandy sweetness at a roadside Idaho cafe. I can hear old Teddy laughing, Fitzgerald's toes a-tapping to the roaring sounds of yesterday. Falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long. As I dream a weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And the light under the Tiffany lamp glows all night long. As I dream with weary wonder, leaving Earth before the dawn. I walk the lonely streets of Paris. I was lost and so afraid, falling asleep, reading Hemingway. And a shotgun blast echoed across the page, falling asleep, reading Hemingway.
Beautiful song. It's on my album, Harmonize and Prophesy. Okay, let's talk about more on deep state news. Here we go. How about the fact that there is a battle against the deep state, and the FBI has made a very tremendous arrest of one of the top 3 MS-13 leaders. According to a report, the authorities have captured MS-13 top leader for the United States East Coast. According to the FBI, and the officials have captured this 24-year-old suspect in Woodbridge, Virginia, just south of Washington, D.C. Authorities have yet to release the suspect's name, but they say he is one of the top 3 leaders of MS-13 gang in the United States. Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel were involved and watched the arrest unfold from a nearby tactical operations center. So they were there just down the road in a off the grid in a secret little location there. They watched their FBI agents go in and arrest this guy and get him. A Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, and senior DOJ officials, Emil Bove, were also present. They executed a very clean, safe operation, and the bad guys are in custody. And thanks to the FBI, this new FBI under Kash Patel, We got one of the worst of the worst of the worst of the MS-13. Got him off the streets this morning in Virginia, and the country is a lot safer today without him. According to Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States of America, the operation included FBI, joined by Prince William County Police Department and the ATF, the ICE, and the Virginia State Police, along with the FBI. Great job by Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Tom Homan, and Kristi Noem on the capture of this MS-13 leader. It's a big deal, said President Donald Trump on his social media. But you wouldn't know it if you watch MSNBC, CNN, and some of the other left-wing leaning lamestream media. You won't even know this even happened. But the deep state, as you heard Laura Eisenhower say, has many facets. And matter of fact, my next book that's coming out, and I can't even tell you the title yet till I sign the document, but I can tell you this, it's going to blow your mind, and we're going to blow the doors off a lot of off the deep state for sure, and the secret societies, and a whole lot more. So you don't, the Antichrist, you don't want, I can't wait to tell you about my new book coming out. I'm co-authoring it with, again, Pulitzer Prize nominated journalist, Troy Anderson. All right. So it's going to be good. I'll tell you more about that. I do got good news too, just to let you know that Revelation 9:11 will be coming on audio. You guys have been asking for it. Well, I wanted to do it, but I couldn't do it because under my book rights, I had to wait a year to see whether they would do it or I could go independent. And they contacted me last week and said, hey, we want to do it. This book sold so well. We would like you to put it on audio and want to know if I would use my own voice. I said, well, let's try it. So I did it. I did a sample reading for them, sent it back, and they said it was awesome. They loved it. Israel Hall I was in our local studio here at FFC TV. And so Israel was taking care of the audio adjustments, and they loved it. So I'm going to be doing the reading right here at home, which is a whole lot easier than having to go to California and sit in a studio 3 days. I'd much rather do it right here at home in our home studio at FFC TV. And Israel Hall will be the engineer. And I'll read this book, and then it will go be sent to the publishers, which will then package it all up and get it out there and make it available on everywhere books are sold, okay? Amazon and Barnes & Noble and Books A Million and Book Soup and Harvard Bookstore and everywhere, okay? So we'll let you know as soon as I got to get in the studio. I'm starting on that Monday. I'll be in the studio on Monday and for a couple hours. I'm going to try to do that every day and get that done, okay? Because some of you have never got the book yet, and some people just can't, reading is just not their thing. I understand that. It's not easy for me either, but I mean, I like to do it, but it's hard for me. But especially with my eye. But audio I can do, and audio many of you can listen to. You can listen to it with your pods on at night while you're laying there in bed. You can listen. You'll be able to listen to it in your car or just listen to it on your pad. The audio book will be great to have out. So I'll let you know as soon as that is available. I do have this available. You can go to Amazon.com right now and order Revelation 9:11. You can do both. It's cool to read it and listen, okay? Or just read it and then later listen. It's because you get more. When I read it, it will have the emphasis on it, okay? So I will emphasize as I read, which a lot of people will like, I'm sure. But you can go get Revelation 9:11 right now. They got it on sale at Amazon for the hardcover is on sale for $13.39. That's incredible. $13.39. They ship pretty quick, so you can get a copy of Revelation. Get 5 copies because you're going to need to get 4 of them away. Now's the time to do it. Get 5 copies. Some of you may have already gotten a copy, read it, love it. Don't give yours away. You'll never get it back, but you got a couple friends that you think they need to read it. I want you to go and order a couple copies and then give it to them, okay? It is a blessing, and it's an eye-opener. Matter of fact, I was in the post office shipping some autograph books out Friday. And so I'm walking in, with 7 books, and they're all autographed, going to 7 different people. Okay. And I'm standing there, and we're packaging it together, and I'm talking to the guy, and he looks at me and says, "This book must be pretty good. I mean, you keep walking in here with it." And I said, "Well, look, people like it. And it's a blessing." And he goes, "What's it about?" And so I started telling him. Well, when I went back in again, a couple days later with another couple books, he said, "I ordered my copy. I can't wait to read it." So, it's kind of cool. I think it's good that people are. Here's all I can say is this: 90% of the pastors in America believe that we're seeing signs of the end times. That 90% of the pastors will admit there are things happening now that prove we're in the signs. These are the signs of the end times. Okay, but only 10% of them preach on it because they're afraid. They're afraid it will be too scary. They're afraid their congregation will be upset. They're afraid. Some of them are told that they can't preach on end times from their denominational headquarters. They're just told you're not going to talk about that. Okay, so I'm not blaming all these pastors because in a lot of ways they're under constraints, heavy constraints. But I do say that they got to shake that loose somehow, and they got to start preaching on. And not every preacher has to be a prophecy preacher and do it every day. No. Guys, if every 6 weeks you throw in some prophecy, or if every sermon you throw a couple little prophecy things out, you got to, because that's the time we're in. I mean, we have to step it up. But I want to just say that some of the pastors, you might want to order my book, read it, and that will help give you a quick study on current world events and how they relate to biblical prophecy. And I've got a lot of pastors who have ordered a book, and now there's pastors who are using it to teach Bible studies in their churches. So it's starting to spread that way, and that's what we intended it to do, to be a blessing not only to you, to the viewers of Paul Begley Prophecy YouTube channel, but to this members of all this great online church, but to be a blessing to other churches, other Bible study groups, other peoples out there, to also be a blessing to you. So know that, okay? And I'm working on another project on Revelation 9:11 that I'm not allowed to speak about yet, but man, I am excited and hoping that can come into play. We'll talk more about all of this. Give your life to Jesus Christ. I got to completely prepare for tonight's show that starts at 9 p.m. Eastern with Mike from around the world. And I guarantee you it will be epic. So have plenty of coffee on hand. Be prepared. Nobody go to sleep during the middle of that show. Don't you dare go to sleep then. Stay awake because Jesus just might come back. Are you saved?